With the establishment of a distribution association approved, Primavera's execs ran about preparing and adjusting various matters. While working hard, they could feel a harvest season sort of progress in their steadily advancing plan. Here, Rose. Thank you. Let's give it our all again today. So you still have those clothes, even though they look pretty worn out. I won't throw them away even if they're torn to pieces. And anyway, familiar clothes work best when things get tough. Though Madame Rose had been released from some of her work by her aide Stella, she was still working hard. On the contrary, she was taking on various foreign affairs that required more vitality than anything before. While Primavera was in an aggressive posture, unwilling to succumb to any sort of violence, it was also essential that they make their devotion to their countrymen known. It was very important to meet with representatives of people to conduct top-level diplomacy. On this Sunday, she once again attended a meeting of her countrymen, among the city folk. It was rumored that universal suffrage would soon be made a reality. Rose had come because certain people, who wanted one of their brethren, entered into the race. Had come asking for support from her association of friendship between countrymen. If the Japanese, who were now a minority, wanted their opinion to be heard, they couldn't avoid participating in politics. In 1946, during the first period of Reconstruction after the war and disaster, the first election of universal suffrage had been held, with equal suffrage for men and women. Based? However, in Tokyo's independent cities alone, this had been postponed, as they were having trouble reaching an agreement. This was because the Chinese had taken issue with when the Americans had rejected the establishment of the Communist Party in their military districts. On the flip side, the Americans were unhappy because Chinese would be de facto requirement for voting in the Chinese-run districts. Neither side was willing to compromise. Yeah, I think that other part's a little fucked up, by the way. So the whole matter of establishing elections in Tokyo independent cities had been shelved. However, America, which professed to be the leader of the democracy camp, indicated its desire for an early resolution to this problem. Hey, if America's okay with everyone voting, that's fine. I mean, they don't want a different party, but that's a little bit of a rub. It wanted to start universal elections even if it meant compromising with the Chinese, as they wanted to show that the democracy camp had no intention of forming colonies. Due to the effects of the war at the time, colonial powers all over the world were weakening. Wars of independence were breaking out in colonies all over Asia. The southern country Leo Shishigami had crossed the seas to return was one such nation. The most vital issue to the large countries was whether the smaller nations would join the East or the West once they gained their independence. In part for that reason, they wanted to prove to these smaller nations that joining the democracy camp would result in them being granted various privileges without facing recolonization. This had been the reason behind the incredible reconstruction brought about by America and China after the Great Disaster. Come to think of it, the Japanese islands were basically a working model of both camps at the time. For that reason, the Americans made large concessions to the Chinese. They indirectly approved the establishment of a communist party in American districts. The Chinese welcomed this and slightly relaxed the voting requirements in Chinese districts. What do you mean slightly? We gave all the concession. And so the door was suddenly open, holding elections of universal suffrage in the Tokyo independent cities. The most optimistic predictions saw elections becoming shortly after New Year. beginning. In these cities, which were practically in the possession of the Americans and Chinese, this might form a chance for the Japanese to take back their political rights. On the other hand, there was a chance that the will of the people would end up approving the formation of a de facto colonies in this area. In each district, each camp was supporting candidates favorable to their cause. Even in City 23, several wealthy pro-American Japanese people had started political activity with the election in mind. I mean, why don't we just vote for us? What? Eventually, it would probably be narrowed down to a small group of the most popular who would gain immense support and start waging election campaigns. Wow, that sounds like a primary. If they sat around and waited for the election, it was quite possible that someone would come to power who cared little for the rights of the Japanese. The Japanese, who were almost all poor, usually didn't have enough funds to run a campaign. And the few who did have enough economic clout were in bed with the occupying forces. Such people would never act in a war contrary to the military's wishes. At this rate, there was even a danger that the will of the countrymen would be banished from politics across Tokyo, not just in City 23. To Madame Rose, who had been working to strengthen their distribution foundation, this was the next major problem to be dealt with. You should run for an office yourself. Actually, I don't see why she wouldn't. That seems like a logical step. Even though, like, a lot of people don't like her. Well, fuck those people. The first character in the Japanese word for politics can also mean worshipping the gods. Politics is fundamentally a religious rite. The hands of a person involved in religious rites must be absolutely clean. What? Rose, sweetie. So those of us in the world of the night must not step into the stage of politics. If your hands are dirty, everyone else's hands must be covered with crack. You're kind, Wayne. Thank you. There were some who wanted to nominate Madame Rose, but she declined. In exchange, she offered to back a person who could speak for her countrymen, lending her support. Though the negative image of her had grown since the soy sauce war, Rose's influence was still beyond measure. She was finally rising to the stage as a political fixer. Still, Rose, that's why I want you to be on your guard. Though our relationship with the GDS and the occupying forces have stabilized, you never know what might happen. Are you talking about shrinking my personal guard? It's fine as long as I have you, Wayne. I know full well how incredibly strong you are. Please restore the normal number of people to your guard. There's a lot of people right now who would be in trouble if you died. And also, don't forget that there's a lot of people who want you dead too. Though the relationship with the GDS was still tense on the surface, they had established a hotline with Sun Zilong, removing any danger of a feud. Also, she had thought dragging a crowd of thugs around with her all the time would scare people. Since she was trying to get involved with politics, it was necessary for her to preserve her image as a queen to some degree. Though everyone knew she was an underworld boss, it wouldn't be good to let them see that every time they looked at her. For that reason, by Madame Rose's request, her guard had been halved when she was out on a foreign affairs work. Wayne opposed this, but after being lectured to by intellectuals like James Tomitake, he reluctantly agreed. He had switched her smaller guard to contain only elites hardened by plenty of actual combat, all in an effort to counter the reduced strength of her defenses. Ra-ta-ta! As Alan strolled by with a strange, happy step, passers-by smiled brightly at his cheerfulness. There was a bouquet of red roses in his hand. Why he thought he needed this on the day he was going to meet his girlfriend's brother is a mystery, but he had been so happy he bought it on impulse. He has to apologize, okay? That's what he has to do. It seemed Alan thought this would become a day to be remembered, the day his girlfriend's brother acknowledged their relationship. That easygoing side of him was probably the greatest source of his charm. Surely that incomprehensible bouquet would boost his charm even further. Massive fucking dick energy. What have you been doing, brother? I told you today is an important day. Today of all days, I wanted to show up on time. What are you doing? The Japanese are super strict about time. If he hates the Chinese for being loose about time because of you, I'll hate you forever. As Yuki dashed about getting her makeup ready, she yelled at her brother, who hadn't prepared to leave at all. Lee responded by saying his mind was fully prepared, but his words apparently went unnoticed as Yuki struggled with their eyeliner. Yuki is such a fucking god. If he is the sort of man that would bring you sorrow, I will extract an eye from him on the spot. And if he is not suitable for my little sister, I will extract a nose from him on the spot. And if you don't dress up in a way that's suitable for my big brother, I'll turn a certain iguana into mincemeat on the spot. I wish Yuki would yell at me. Aren't you supposed to clean up a little before bringing a man over? Oh, are you only saying this now? Or are you so engrossed with other things last night that you didn't notice? Nope. Just didn't say it out of politeness. Based. And what about you? What are you thinking, bringing luggage like that when you're going to visit a woman's house? I've got an appointment with a gunsmith to adjust it this evening. I want to tweak the stock a bit more. At first, she had started hoping he knew how to play the guitar, before receiving a shock when she saw what was inside. Anyway, we can't bring Yuji to a moldy room like this. No helping it. For Yuki's sake, I'll get it all cleaned up. What a reliable papa. Okay, your sunny side eggs are up already. Plenty of people have tried to sweet-talk me by asking to taste my home cooking, but I've never let them. You ought to be grateful. Isn't this the plate that isn't this plate the one that was inside that rotting water bucket earlier? How rude! I washed it carefully. I hardly ever do that. Maybe I should drop by here every now and then. I'm starting to feel sort of obligated. While helping out caring for his many younger brothers and sisters, Keith had also lent a hand with housework. He wasn't in a quite housewife class, but he was certainly more capable than Stella. SMH shit, Stella, come on. Stella once had a nighttime job. Yeah, I wonder what it was. So she usually slept during the day and left caring for Yuji to Richard. I don't know, it seems like she slept at all times of the day. However, now that she had quit work as a lady of the evening, she couldn't push that job on Richard all the time. It was necessary for her to change her tragic situation so that Yuji would come to Stella's house too. It's about time to go to Brother's house. I've got to pick Yuji up. Now let's take Yuji for a walk and go shopping at the same time. Wonderful. Just like family. What will we buy? What would you like for dinner tonight? First, let's buy detergent, bleach, and cleaning tools. Fuck. The two of them went to Richard's house, picked up Yuji, and put him in the stroller. On the way to the shopping district, there was the park that was always played with him at. When he realized they were close to it, he started making a fuss about wanting to play. I told you no, we're going shopping. Wanna play? He'll get tired once he's worn out with playing. Why don't we let him have fun until then? Did you hear that? Okay, you can play for just a bit. Wanna play? To Yuji, it would just be boring to get stuck shopping with adults on such a pleasant Sunday. However, those two were probably thinking the same thing. Don't worry about the shopping. We can do that anytime. Yeah, but to Yuji, this day is irreplaceable. In a kid's world, there are no meaningless days. Come to think of it, that's true for everyone. All those meaningless days only have meaning when you realize they'll never come again. I like the sound of that. By the way, what day of the month do you think it is? October 19th, or is it the 20th already? It's Sunday, October 23rd. If you want to treasure each and every day, you probably ought to know that much. Keith, you remind me of how my brother used to be. I thought that strangely methodical part of you was familiar, and now I know. Flash. Sunday, October 23rd, 1949. Weather clear. 23 degrees Celsius. High. And the low is 17. The record states that it was a day reminiscent of the summer that had gone, with sweaty weather and a beautiful autumn sky. Surely, none of them predicted that this day would drastically change the fates of them all. Wow, someone dies! At least one! Wow, who would have guessed? There wasn't red flags or anything. Just before 12 o'clock noon, Madame Rose arrived at the Boat Dig Restaurant Community Center at the heart of City 23. I think there's approximately a 1% chance Rose dies, only because there's still another season left. And we haven't even met Jean yet. There's no way they kill Rose without Jean existing yet. So that's important. There's about a 79% chance Yuki dies. Holy fuck. And then the rest is just everyone else. It's a smattering of everyone else. Probably, I would say the third highest would be than Yuji dying. I could see like a stray bullet hitting him and him just fucking dying. Because like they stop at the park. And then that snowballs butterfly effects into him just being in the right spot where a bullet hits him and he just fucking dies. That's very possible. I think that's very, very likely to happen. But Yuki dying, number one chance. That is the highest percent chance of her dying. And I'm not ready for it. I'm not going to be happy, okay? She is there to be a guest in the soon-to-start citizens' debate as the president of the Association of Friendship Between Countrymen. Her greetings at her previous event had run long, so she only barely made it in time. Those looking forward to her arrival welcomed her with cheers. Today's event was being called a debate, but for all practical purposes, it was an election platform with the supposed elections early next year in mind. Many of the common folk gathered, and the meeting hall was wrapped in excitement. Also, just in case the unexpected happened, American police had been set out and were performing careful body checks of visitors. Of course, Wayne and the bodyguards had taken precautions against this body check before. Madame Rose was greeting the people running the event in front of the guest waiting room. Oh, Madame Rose, welcome! Please let me introduce you all to her. This is Madame Rose, Miss Rose Ibarra, President of the Association of Friendship Between Countrymen. I apologize for my lateness. I am Rose Ibarra. It's an honor to meet you all. I wish you all the best of luck today. Now that's our line. The crowd all rushed forward, each trying to shake Rose's hand first. In City 23 right now, no one stood to gain anything from openly disliking Madame Rose. During this time, Wayne gave the orders to her guards as the leader of her security. The stage is smaller than I expected. Let's lower the number of guards next to the stage by one, put one more guard at the rear of the hall. Yeah, boss. We have no info regarding threatening moves by the GDS. But make sure you don't let your guards down. If the worst happens, let the police handle it if it's just a scuffle. Do not draw your guns unless it's absolutely necessary. That'll damage Madame Rose's image. Yeah, boss. The guards were all experienced veterans back from the front lines. There are all sorts of people Wayne once had a complex towards. However, there was no sign of that in Wayne now. And with his aura, none of them would doubt that he was their leader. Guards needed to be intimidating just to look at. Those imposing, suited veterans would talk some sense into less motivated assassins, just by standing there. Wayne, on the other hand, was dressed in completely unimposing clothing. He blended in with the people as a general audience member, so he could get a better handle of the whole situation. Showy wolves laid out like guard dogs, and a hidden wolf prepared to ambush the enemy. It really was like a pack of wolves. Sensing a disturbance, Wayne quickly turned around, and there was no longer anyone to be seen. But there was no longer anyone to be seen. The police officer who had hidden looked around, then disappeared down a staff passage. Then he entered an empty office and quickly picked up the phone. It's the 1% chance, but I mean, Wayne and them's there, and like, there's very, very unlikely. He could hear a thunderous applause off in the distance. Apparently, the citizens' debate had begun. This is the hall. All received on schedule. There are 8 guards, minimally armed. Our squad has completed its objective. There are 8 guards. There are also 8 American police officers inside and out. Not bad. What about the other squads? M squad's on Small Rock Street, in the process of achieving its objective near 28th Chome. S squad has already achieved its objective. No guards. Squad. S, M, M, Yuki. That's 1,000,000%. S. Stella? Oh, they're going after all 3! Yo, we going for the fucking combo! Gabriel closed his eyes for a moment, then looked up at the heavens as though waiting for a revelation. Motherfucking combo up in here. Then perhaps he heard some voice. He nodded with a faint smile and gave the order. Yeah, Yuki is the highest % chance. Initiate operation. Great justice. Operation start is 12:07. Battle stipulations are as agreed upon. Massacre the targets. Your greatest priority is to see that no prisoners of war are taken. If necessary for the successful completion of the operation, you have permission to fire upon the general public as well. If you identify a possible obstacle, you have permission to eliminate them with a preemptive strike, even if they're an American policeman. Notify all squads that the plan is underway. Bring justice to the Satans of the earth. Ah! Fuck! You're not touching Yuki! Yuki! Ah! I thought monkeys were supposed to hold bananas, not roses. What are you planning to propose to my brother? No, well, I was so nervous today, I felt like it'd be bad to come empty-handed. Sheesh, you really are dumb. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Thanks, Alan. Kiss! Yuki hugged him with an emotional look on her face. Oh my god. Just fuck. Alan got red and excited by the sudden bold move. Give me. By the way, I'm about your brother. Oh, right. What's his name? My brother's looking for a place to park. I think he'll be here soon. Parking's been hard to find around this area lately. Hey, Alan? It'll still be possible for us to be together no matter what happens, right? Of course! If you'd let me, I'd like to be with you from morning till night. From bath to bed. In that case, my brother's name is... No! Go back! Cock! Swing! Play on swing! Yeah, this kid's fucking dead. Sure, on the swing then, young prince. It'll be like a meme. Oh, actually, no, the meme that's gonna happen is they're gonna shoot the fucking kid. And she'll protect the kid. It'll kill both of them. You know what? I have fucking future sight. Just call it that. Yuki's dead. She's dead. Rhodes is gonna live. She'll be fine. And Wayne obviously lives. There's no way Wayne would still be employed and Rose died. He would have died there. 100%. So Rose will live. Wayne will live. These people will die, though. Stella, Yuki, they're all dead. R.I.P. My fucking die. Don't ride in a way that's dangerous, okay? Don't do what the big kids do and try to jump off. I think it's okay to do a little. He's a boy, he's gotta get tough. After all, these kids will be our future countrymen, the ones who'll pave the way to the future. True, then let him have a bit of an adventure, I guess. A scene in a peaceful park, a crowd of mothers with kids listening to the whims of their small princes and princesses, and played happily. Just fucking imagine this getting fucking shot up. Older folks sat in the video game, obviously. Older folks sat on benches scattering bits of bread and crust they had collected, causing a flock of pigeons to gather. Just a peaceful, warm midday on a Sunday.